Hey everyone, it's Lavanielle here for another video for you guys today, but before we jump into that, let's get into a couple of announcements. I first want to start out with the fact that my last video was called Death and Doom, and I believe I will be re-uploading that video in the coming weeks after I remake it. I wasn't happy with the quality of it as I was experimenting with NVIDIA broadcast, and I felt that it just didn't work the way that I wanted to. The quality wasn't where I wanted it, so I want to remake that and make it better. I am trying out a new audio recording process for this video. It's a little bit more intensive than what I have been doing, but I think it'll be well worth it in the end, so please stay tuned for that. And of course, QuakeCon 2025. It was a blast, and I won't be making any specific videos on what happened there. It was just amazing in general, but I do want to give a big shout out to someone I met at QuakeCon. His name is Necro. I will of course link his channel down below. He did give me a print that he had made, and I asked him to sign it because it was phenomenal, but also he did spend the time to take some of the ambient tracks from Doom: The Dark Ages and combine them and place them on YouTube in a way that they're awesome for YouTube background noise. Don't get me wrong, I love finishing moves work, but they are a bit intense for like background, noise for videos and things. So thank you, Necro, and seriously guys, go check him out. Today, I want to explore about the reason the Wraiths even came to Argent D'Nur. And with the introduction of the Cosmic Realm, we get a better idea of the Wraiths. We can now knowingly say where they came from, but the question remains, why? As I start to dive deeper into this mystery, it is imperative to declare, there is not a definitive answer, but by examining the relationship between Ulsamir, Hell, the Sentinels, and the Wraiths, a clear picture does emerge. The Wraiths emerged from the Cosmic Spear, otherwise known as the World Spear, early in Argent D'Nur's history. They were, quote, fierce in their emancipation, suggesting that their departure from the Cosmic Realm was one that was utterly necessary. The manner in which the spear crashed into the planet suggests a degree of disparity. The Wraiths, carrying the last of their kin, collided so forcefully with the world that it seems that ship could never ever move again without splitting the world asunder. This suggests a few things. One, the Wraiths fled the Cosmic Realm, and that seems to be in a desperate manner. And two, there is a degree of benevolence I didn't see before, which, albeit being tempestuous, the Wraiths do display that more than I have seen previously. With the arrival of the Wraiths came the Wraith Call, in which towering beasts arose on Argent D'Nur. The Sentinels also depict that the Wraiths gave them life as well. However, the Ancestrals arguably shaped Argent D'Nur as much as the Wraiths did themselves. The Ancestrals not only drove the Sentinels to become a culture boasting strong military and technical prowess, but long after their bodies stopped moving did they still influence the Sentinels by providing energy sources like the Primordium Essence, which is harvested from their fossilized remains, and also empowering their technology from the Ancestral Forge. This clearly demonstrates just how truly powerful the Wraiths are. Not many beings in Doom earn the moniker of God, but Wraiths are almost always depicted as ancient gods in the Codex entries. Given the seemingly abrupt crash of the Cosmic Spear into Argent D'Nur, it is important to next notice how organized the spear truly is. It seems as though all the individual Wraiths that existed are stowed upon this ship. This tells me that this was a last-ditch effort to save themselves. Is it an evacuation ship that took who they could and fled as far away as possible? But now comes the tricky part. Why would they do this? I think it is important to next contextualize the Cosmic Realm to understand a reason. The Cosmic Realm is described in the Codex entry City of Reupload as, quote, a dimension of unfathomable dread, where reality warps and sanity falters. Ancient structures of impossible geometry rise from the blackened seas, their surfaces pulsating with unholy runes. The skies churn with colors unknown, inhabited by titanic beings that defy comprehension. This means that the Cosmic Realm embodies that of chaos and malevolence. Furthermore, we can look at other Codex entries that describe the way the Cosmic Realm altered some of Hell's beasts, and it gives an idea of how it operates. The Cacodemon hybrids are described as, quote, These creatures, once part of the demonic hierarchy of hell, have been corrupted by the eldritch manipulations of the witch. They drift across the lowlands, their eyeless gaze wandering minds to consume, devouring thought and memory to sustain their eternal, maddening communion with the gods. While cacodemons have always been described as, quote, driven only by a singular desire to feed, the cacodemon is likely to appear wherever there is flesh to be consumed, bringing with it an insatiable propensity for hunger. The manipulation of the cacodemon turned its desire for flesh into a desire for minds. Meanwhile, the giant cacodemons are given a more apocalyptic description. Quote, though already colossal, these abominations would, given centuries, swell to engulf entire worlds in their ravenous maws. The Sentinel priests who fell to cosmic corruption, now known as acolytes, are given this description. Quote, the cosmic taint courses through their veins, bestowing forbidden sight and powers that rend the fabric of reality. They serve as one, a serpent with many heads, each a fragment of their mistress's unfathomable design. Through them, the malice of realms beyond bleeds into the world they once swore to protect. I will come back to this entry as I believe it reveals something more forthcoming about the nature of the cosmic realm, but it does show a bit of a theme here. The cosmic realm embodies malevolence. But lastly, I will detail the tentacles that appear throughout the modern Doom games, which are now given an origin even though we see that over time they have become very much hellified. Quote, contact with the cosmic realm infects other realities, spreading an insidious growth at the breach points between dimensions. Buried within this grotesque organic material lie the malevolent tentacles, a natural extension of an unknown cosmic intelligence. So what we learn about the cosmic realm is that it is this devouring evil realm that seeks to consume much like hell does. That entry I just talked to you about, the acolyte, the malice of realms beyond bleeds into the world they once swore to protect. Realms in Doom appear to indicate planets or generalized areas of space, i.e. the Telos realm, for example. What I am articulating from this notion is that the cosmic realm appears parasitic, much like hell in its own way. Multiple realms implies that the cosmic realm has appeared to engulf other worlds and subject them to the madness of their own reality. We see this evidence throughout the shipwrecks from those that crossed over, accidentally or willingly, lured by forbidden knowledge, as evidenced by the Codex entry Temple of Lamareth. Sometimes these beings drift over by rifts that appear seemingly spontaneously. Examining the Codex entry City of Reupload, we see that the cosmic realm is a dimension of unfathomable dread where reality warps and sanity falters. Ancient structures of impossible geometry rise from the blackened seas, and their surfaces pulsating with unholy runes. I know I've already mentioned this one, but I do want to take another dive into it for a different reason, of course. And that reason is that there is an inherent connection to water. The rifts that appear to swallow up those traveling on water, and the structures that normally couldn't exist due to the constraints of physical forces like gravity, emerge from water, almost as if the connection to the cosmic realm is through water itself, which exists on most realms, and as far as we know, water in some way comprises all of life. This concept is true in real biology today, and the existence of fluids, like in the swamps, seems to support that in the Doom universe for all we know. But let's get off that tangent and back to the nature of the cosmic realm. It seems to figuratively swallow up things whole, sinking them into its depths. If we look at the Codex entry, Spire of Narethul, we get this information. Quote, Narethul lies beneath the northern sea of Esvovia, a prison forged by a covenant between Sentinels and Wraiths to subdue a massive cosmic being. So clearly in this level we see that the Old One is trapped in a prison beneath the ocean. While this is clearly inspired by Cthulhu and the sunken city of R'lyeh, which is described as a sunken city as well and a tomb for Cthulhu, it doesn't explicitly state why the Old One would need to be trapped in the first place. So let's examine the Codex entries further. The Old One, the fallen god of the cosmic realm, was resurrected by Prince Azric's dark priests in a vile act of domination. Once revered as the witch's deity, its revival bound her and it to Hell's eternal service. Yet resurrection by Hell's hand carries a dreadful price. What returns is never the same. Stripped of the chaotic divinity, the Old One rises now as a corrupted machine of terror bound in monstrous service to Hell's will, enslaved to darkness for all eternity. So the Old One was a god of the cosmic realm, and its arrival to Argent D'Nur necessitated the collaboration between the Sentinels and Wraiths to subdue him. If the Old One was the embodiment of terror originally, it is likely its arrival was meant as a harbinger of doom in the world of doom. If we look at the Codex entry titled Icon of Sin, it reads, quote, "As it is written in the prophecies of ancient Sentinel scripture, the Titans, towering elder demons of the infernal age, would return unearthed from their immortal slumber. The Titans are believed to be harbingers of the end times, primordial forces of chaos and destruction. Now we learn in Doom, the Dark Ages, that the Titans were a species conquered by Hell in a separate dimension, and ultimately transformed into powerful weapons. But the concept of a Titan is not unique to just the Titans. The Old One is considered a Titan-class entity and therefore may be construed to be a harbinger of the end times. Regardless, the Old One is regarded as a god from the realm of madness and destruction, and if it arrived on Argent D'Nur, then one can assume that the Old One had every intention of conquering that world. The Old One is one of a few creatures that can generate portals across realms at will, but was trapped on Argent D'Nur. This leads me to the answer to the question relating to the title of this video. The Wraiths fled the cosmic realm, and were likely followed by the Old One as it attempted to conquer the world. Now, the definitive answer as to what the reason of why the Wraiths fled is a little bit fuzzy, that likely can't be definitely answered, but we can speculate with enough evidence. Notice the iconography of the cosmic realm involves eyes. Eyes everywhere. But the Wraiths are strange in that they seem to be lacking eyes in their biology. The reason for that is not known, but to me makes it clear they are different for a particular reason. Wherever the Wraiths appear, life appears. In History of the Sentinels Part 1 it reads, quote, "The womb of the world opened and the elemental Wraiths, the firstborn, spilled forth. They took to the skies, fierce in their emancipation. In their exultation they brought vitality to the land, and all that felt their breath were awakened from eternal slumber." The Wraiths are life-bringers. Wherever they go, new life awakens. This is why they are often termed the ancient gods. There is also something to notice as well. The Wraiths are protective of the Sentinels. It was by their collaboration that the Old One was even subdued and given its ability to create massive portals to the cosmic realm. This was a tremendous feat. However, previous Codex entries from Doom Eternal suggest that the Wraiths were not entirely benevolent. They were described to have a tempestuous hunger, and their Wraith call could drive lesser men to madness. But perhaps this was an inevitability as part of their nature. I think the development from the Dark Ages seems to suggest that the Wraiths weren't malicious either, but instead carried with them a degree of entropy and chaos. The Wraiths worked with the Sentinels to subdue the Old One, and bestowed certain Sentinels with their souls. I don't have much evidence, but in the History of the Sentinels Part 2, there is a mention of a time of grief when King Etrix took the throne. I purport that perhaps some event led to the decline of the Wraiths, leading to this unsettling era. It is possible that perhaps the makers were covertly involved beforehand, or came to see the aftermath. What we do know is that the Wraiths have slowly disembodied themselves and appear to use some Sentinels as new vessels. The reasoning is nowhere elucidated, so at this point we do not know if they suffer a form of transfiguration like the makers, and thus necessitated this transference, or if the Wraiths were concerned with their activities on Argent D'Nur creating chaos, they chose to leave their forms behind and gift their godliness to certain Sentinels and assume a semblance of a slumber. Regardless, we can conclude that the Wraiths left for a particular reason, and from what I can gather from their relationship with the Sentinels and the circumstances surrounding the cosmic realm, It was because the chaotic evil from that realm does not agree with the doctrine the Wraiths believed, and that their power was so immense that they chose a final sacrilege to preserve it. I do hope we will get more in-depth Codex information about this, but for now, this is all that I have. If you all enjoy Doom Lord, let me know. I do as well, and I will see you all very soon. Alrighty guys, see you next time. Karantuk.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can